Welcome to another episode of Streamin with a Purpose. It's time to be inspired and motivated to live your best life on purpose. On Streamin with a Purpose, hear the stories of people who have, despite the odds, dealt with the challenges that life sometimes brings, but who still manage to overcome those odds. If you think life is tough and you have to settle for where you are, my guests and I are here to tell you, you don't have to. I speak to people who were once where you are and are now living their purpose, and I want to encourage you to live your life to the fullest. I am your host, Sylvia Montgomery. Let's take a listen to our next guest. Hello, welcome to another episode of Streamin with a Purpose. I'm your host, Sylvia Montgomery, and I have with me as my guest today, Tiffani Douglas. Tiffani is a freelance senior beauty, health, and wellness copywriter, esthetician, nail technician, and accomplished author. With a BA in journalism and 30 years of experience in the beauty business, Tiffani brings a unique perspective to her writing that intertwines her industry expertise with creativity. Tiffani shared her extensive knowledge as a contributing author to the Milady Nail Technology 8th edition textbook and served on the Colibri Healthcare Cosmetology Board. She has also developed marketing and educational content for global beauty brands, established trade publications, and top beauty education companies and associations. So, Tiffani, I'm just so excited to have you here today. You have a lot of things going on, but it's all great stuff. And I'm just so in awe of all that you have accomplished so far. I say so far in your purpose journey. So, Tiffani, first of all, can you just tell us how did you end up in the beauty business?
Well, I kind of ended up in the beauty business because it was kind of part of my early life. My sister was a cosmetologist. So I am from a family of 8. I have 4 older sisters. So beauty was always just a part of our household, from trying on mascaras and lipsticks of my sisters before I could even walk really good to, being involved in my sister's salon later on in life. So my background is actually in journalism. While I was in college, I made the decision to sit out and because I needed to make money. And I decided to go to school to become a nail tech. So I sat out of college and went to trade school to become a nail tech. My degree is in journalism, so I just kind of married those 2 professions together, and I created what I am today, which is a beauty, health, and wellness copywriter.
Awesome. That sounds really awesome. So, how do you translate what you do today into living your purpose?
Because really, beauty is all about helping people. And beauty comes from the inside and reflects on the outside too. So, really, when I relate it to my purpose, it always is from a place of help and wellness. And how you feel on the inside is the way that it is going to come, it is going to manifest on the outside. So it's purposeful for me to be able to share my gift with the brands that I create content for in a way that they can share it with their audience so that it is helpful to them.
Tiffani, when I look at what you do, and I haven't really shared everything you do, and I don't think you have either, but you teach classes, I understand. You're a contributing beauty expert. You're an author, and I understand that you recently opened a spa.
I did.
So you are really a great example of someone who has not only gone out here and established a career doing what you're gifted and talented in, but you have also demonstrated how purpose doesn't mean that you stay where you start.
Absolutely.
You have truly evolved in your purpose throughout your
Absolutely.
journey, and the experiences that you have and what you are currently doing is just awesome. So can you just elaborate a little bit on your journey and how it is you started out one place and now you've just sort of evolved into doing so much more?
Sure. Um, I am a connector. I'm a natural connector of people and ideas. And when I started out, it was really me just helping other professionals in the business because I was going through school. Um, to get my degree in journalism. But as I was working through school, I was also working in a salon. So there were people there who wanted to leave the salon, they wanted to go out, they wanted to start their own thing. So they were looking to me to help them, for example, create websites. So I was writing for websites. I'm self taught on a lot of things. So I started using website templates to create their website and write their content. They needed flyers. They needed business cards. So I just kind of started doing those little things for them without any pay. I was just, these were my friends, and I was helping them to move through this process to move into salon suites. And I just discovered, oh, okay, well, this is something else that I'm pretty good at. And I love the industry. So why can't I just do both? So it really just kind of started out as a consulting type thing, and it grew. And then I started eventually working for our brands and creating content and copy for brands. And it kept growing.
A lot of people will tell you stick to one thing. Just stick to what you know, do that one thing well, and
Hmm.
then just focus and move on to something else, maybe. But then
Hmm.
a lot of people will just stick to that one thing and don't even do
Yeah.
anything and say, this is my
Yeah.
specialty, this is what I do well. And I think that's great if that's your thing and if that's where your journey takes you. But I am a firm believer that your journey could take you into so many different places and different
Hmm.
elements. I did not study journalism in college. Maybe I should have. I felt like my journey was a long way from where it should have been, but again, I know that whatever our journey is our journey for a reason. And we just, learn from all of our experiences. So it took me a while, but I also write a lot of blogs and do a lot of writing and have written for various companies. But yet, at the end of the day, as far as my journey is right now, it is leading me to purpose and helping others also
Hmm.
to just come into a basic understanding and realizing their purpose as well. So purpose just sort of fuels me. And so
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer of believing that wherever your journey takes you, it takes you. And I don't have to settle for just one thing. And it sounds
Absolutely.
like you're sort of on that same path yourself and that you're doing everything that you need to be doing at this juncture. And I keep saying that because, Tiffani, we don't know where this journey is going to have you in 3 to 5 years from now.
That's
So
right.
I'm just excited for where you are today, and
Right.
I'm looking forward to following your journey as it continues out. Where is your spa located?
My spa is in Frisco, Texas, and right now it's just me.
Hmm.
But eventually, I will continue to grow that, and we also do multiple services outside of the spa. We do spa parties, and we also do events and promotional work for beauty companies. But I just want to circle back to something that you said about doing many things
Hmm.
because I think that if you do many things well, you should do those things because I think that when you're doing something that you love, you don't get burned out. And having multiple gifts, sometimes, those things can collide for some people. But I believe in intentional congruence, and all my gifts work together. And I make sure that I stay aligned in order to keep those gifts aligned and on purpose. And I am intentional about the work that I do and the work that I receive from others. I don't work with everyone. Everyone is for me. I'm not for everyone. And I believe that, um, in order to stay purposeful, you also have to be intentional about what you take on and what you allow to come into your space.
I love that word intentional because,
Mhm.
it just sort of helps to set the purpose because
Sure.
that keeps us from being all over the place, right? And
Absolutely.
so, and that's how we can do the multiple things that we need to do because we are being intentional with those things. So that's awesome. I love that, Tiffany. And I know that with our purpose, it's not always easy. We have obstacles, we have challenges, we come across things that and it sometimes makes us just want to back away or turn the other
Mhm.
way and just leave it all at the door and say I'm done. But
Yeah.
can you describe some of the challenges that you have had along the way on your purpose journey and how you overcame them?
Oh, Lord, there have been so many. Like we all have, as we are going. But wow. Well, I think some of the challenges that I have probably relate to just getting my foot in the door and, being able to work for some of the bigger brands. Um, and sometimes those challenges, are inward. You're challenging yourself. You're wondering if you're good enough, if your content is good enough compared to other people's work that you've seen, and should I be doing this or should I be doing that? So those challenges sometimes can be conflict, and more so internal than anything external. But again, going back to purpose, when you know why you are doing something, you know your why, then that helps you, um, kind of eliminate that. My why, especially when I first, was kind of getting started, my why was helping Black women in the beauty space. And what I wanted to do was create voice for them, and their products. They needed to have a voice that spoke to their audience. And I am their audience, so I know how to speak to their audience. We don't need verbiage that is straight up. We want to talk to each other like we're talking to our girlfriends. Some of the larger agencies were not able to do that because they didn't have writers on their staff who could relate to not only the product, but they couldn't relate to the audience. So, really being able to create a space where the voice of the Black woman was heard, that was my why. And that's why I got started with a lot of Black owned, Black women owned beauty brands. And that is my lane. And that's how I know that I'm doing enough. So even when I felt challenged in creating content, I knew in my soul that this is my lane and this is what I know I can do for these ladies.
I love the fact that, you've picked an audience that is
Mhm.
relatable and that you can relate to. And while we're talking about the Black audience, I just have to say that I have found as I have talked with people about purpose, that oftentimes it does lead them to wanting to start a business and
Mhm.
maybe not really knowing how to, or feeling that it's something that it's just not reachable for
Mhm.
them. And that's why I talk to people like you, Tiffany, because I want people to understand that their goal is reachable, that the challenges will come, that
Mhm.
all of this is just part of the process. And I just think it's so
Sure.
important. And given our current climate, I know that I would love to see more of our people
Mhm.
pursuing those goals. And
Mhm.
whatever it is that their purpose is leading them to, and not backing away
Hmm.
because they fear the challenge.
Hmm.
Just want your thoughts on what you think about right now as we look at our current climate, the situation that is really all across the country, how beneficial it might be for us to really seriously consider starting our own business.
Yeah. It is critical in a word that we start our own businesses because even though I have been in business for myself, I have also had corporate jobs. And there have been times, and when you work marketing and advertising, we're the first to go. We're the first to get laid off when the economy goes down. So thank God I kept my business. And my business is what has kept me afloat. So when we're looking at how these companies are cutting DEI hires and the uncertainty of that, we need other streams of income. We need that we can count on to take care of ourselves and our families. So if even if you may not, come out of the gate making six figures, or I don't know, you may not even come out of the gate making $10,000 your first year, but that training ground, you have to start. And the experience that you get in that first year, in the first couple of years, or however long you're taking, whether you're doing it slow or whether you're fast tracking your business, those failures and challenges, all of those things are learning experiences. And you must start because we need each other right now more than anything. And not only do we need each other, the businesses that are already out there, they need consistency from us. So, we get all up in arms when we go through these life challenges, and with current environments and what we have in leadership right now. And there's always the big push to support Black businesses. Let's go, let's do this. And then, when it becomes inconvenient for us, we stop. So then that makes it more challenging for that entrepreneur. And when those challenges come, we have to find, as entrepreneurs, we have to find more creative ways to sell our products and services and get it out there to the masses. And I think that um, we should really focus on business ownership as part of our purpose because it gives us an opportunity to share with
Mm-hmm.
our own. A lot of times we have to go outside our people
Mm-hmm.
to find the resources that we need to run our businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And in this climate, and what we're experiencing now, I think there has not been any greater time for us to really dig in and really start to search for people who do things that complement our businesses,
Mm-hmm.
whether that is partnership, whether that is in form of a resource. I think that is extremely important for us to focus on that because it allows us not only to share information and ideas and resources, but it also sparks conversations for us to start bigger, better initiatives and companies and more purposeful more purposeful type of business oriented tasks.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. This is great stuff. And you mentioned something a little bit ago about multiple streams of income, which I too am a fan of. I just
Mm-hmm.
believe it's critical to not
Mm-hmm.
depend on only one source. So, if we're starting our business, even as we're working our nine to
Mm-hmm.
five or our full-time job, as you said,
Mm-hmm.
we may not come out the way we want to that
Yeah,
first year or even that first 2 or 3 to 5 years.
sure.
But what that does is it gives us a foot in the door for an opportunity down the road to be able to ultimately just leave that nine
Yeah.
to five or leave that company where we're fulfilling somebody else's dream. And now we can look at turning toward our own and
Yes.
putting more time into our own dream and giving back to our own communities, being there for the people in our communities and making a difference in our communities. So I totally agree with all of that.
Yes.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
we have, yes, and we have to remember that in spite of those challenges, nothing is wasted. Everything that you do, every lesson that you learned is going to come back to you in a positive way. And that's why we have to have that longevity. We have to keep going, and we have to learn how to pivot and shift when we need to. Everything you take on is not always going to be a huge success. And there will be times where you do have to strip everything down to the one thing, even if you can do many, in order to focus those things, to focus on one thing so that you can build upon that to create more.
Hmm. Yeah, pivoting is not a bad word.
No, it is not.
Not a bad word. It's
Yeah,
okay to
it,
have to pivot because
it,
what again, it's part of the journey and that pivot could take you to that next place. As we talked about before, how your journey has taken you into different directions. Well, with the same thought process, but just in different ways,
right,
allowing you again, creating different streams within your business.
right.
Pivoting can be a good thing because it just opens up some other opportunities even.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes people see pivoting as failure. And pivoting absolutely is not failure. It's using what you already have to go in a different direction that is going to help increase your business. Just because something didn't go quite right over here and you make a left to do something else, that's not failure. That's you changing course in order to correct and
Mm,
get everything back on track so that you can level up.
I love that. Correcting keeps you from giving up.
Absolutely.
So the
Absolutely.
pivoting is necessary.
Sure.
Yes. Do you see anything that you might would do differently, Tiffany, along the way?
I would have started sooner. And I would have not been so fearful of, excuse me, of what other people were going to think of my work. We're not always going to come out perfect. And I think that fear is paralyzing to a lot of people. They don't feel like they measure up, or they can't do what other people done. And what they don't realize is, when you see somebody who is doing something that you've done, and their business has all the bells and whistles, and this is where you want to do what you want to do and where you want to be. What they usually don't see is their beginnings and how they got started and what they didn't have when they first got started. And I think that it's important that when you do see someone who you are aspiring to be like, or mimic, or align your company like them, or take away some of those things, reach out to those people and talk to them. Find out their story. Find out how they got started, because I can guarantee you that everybody did not start from where they are right now. It takes time to build. We must be patient, and we must be fearless.
Patient and fearless. I love it. I love
Mhm.
it. I love it. I love it. Tiffany, what would you say that purpose looks like?
Oh, wow. That's such a loaded question. Because I think that it looks differently to people in different ways, um, at different times in their life. But I think that purpose is basically, to me, it's the core of who you really are, and using the core of who you really are to impress that upon others in a way that is meaningful to them and to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Purpose doesn't look the same for everyone.
No,
Yeah.
and not at every stage of your life.
Yeah. And I would say for me, I have been on this journey for about 5 years, but
Okay.
in the last year is when
Mm-hmm.
it all started to come together for me. And I'm like, yeah, this is the
Mm-hmm.
journey. This is where God's been trying to get me to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, and again, you say depending on where you are, what stage you are in your life, this is where I am right now. And again, as I said about you, I don't know where I'll be next year or 2 to 3 to 5 years from now, but this is where I'm supposed to be right now. And so I know that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah,
I
I
love
love
it
that.
here.
Yeah. And you know what? And in business, I know people say that comfortability is a bad word, but when you reside in your purpose, is comfortable and is peaceful, and you know where you are, whatever that thing is that comes from you. When you have the peace that you know that won't come from any other place, that's how you know
Mhm.
that you are doing what you are meant to do.
And when you get too comfortable,
Hmm.
sometimes we want to stay there,
Yeah.
but God sees that as a reason to, all right, it's time to do something
Hmm.
else. It's time
Hmm.
to get a little uncomfortable again
Hmm.
for that next
It
stage.
definitely ebbs and flows.
Yes, absolutely. So, what would you say to someone who wasn't sure if they were living their purpose?
I would say try out lots of things, read a lot, and don't say no to anything. Have lots of experiences. Get out of the house and go places that you ordinarily would not go. Just experience things, because I think that people who are not living their purpose, in many cases, they don't know what their purpose are because they haven't had enough experiences in life. And you keep searching and searching, but you can't keep searching from your house watching Netflix all the time. That's not going to get you where you need to go, because you can find your purpose in an experience. You can find your purpose in a person. There are people who have spoken into me, and I'm like, wow, some of my great ideas have come from just talking to people. And, it really like strengthened my purpose in many ways. So I think that a person who does not know, just get out there
Hmm.
and talk to people, experience new things. Don't do the mundane. Don't do the same old all the time. Just go.
Got to put yourself out there.
You must. You
Yeah,
must.
yeah, that's good. I love that. I love that. Any other tidbits about purpose you want to share with us, Tiffany?
Um, I don't think I do have any other bits about purpose. Just, if I had to just round it out, I would just say, just be genuine in it, whatever you feel like your purpose is. And don't try to mimic anybody else's, because that your purpose is unique to you.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome. Great, great, Tiffany. I appreciate all of the information that you shared, and I know it's going to benefit so many people. Now, what if someone wanted access to your services? How can they reach you?
They can reach out to me via email, or fill out a form on my website. It's tiffanydouglas.com, Tiffani. or reach out to me via email, Tiffani Douglas, Tiffany at TiffanyDouglas.com. Just with the I instead of the Y.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Tiffany. I certainly did enjoy talking with you today. A wealth of information. And
Thank
I do look forward to following your journey to see where God is taking you next.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Sylvia. This was a wonderful conversation.
You're welcome. Thank you. You have just listened to Streaming with a Purpose with your host, Sylvia Montgomery. Thank you so much for listening and continue to stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, bye bye.